All right, let's get into this. We're talking about a story of a woman who spends years running from her family's magical legacy, only to get a call that pulls her right back in. It's a fantastic tale about power, family secrets, and a daughter who's convinced she has nothing to offer in a world where her mother is an absolute legend. So the story kicks off with this incredible line, right? And it immediately drops us into a world that feels, well, a little bit magical. We know from the jump that Mama Celestine isn't your average mom. She has this deep, almost psychic insight into people, and that really sets the stage for a family that plays by a whole different set of rules. And at the very heart of this magical family is our main character, Glory, the one daughter who feels like she's standing on the outside looking in. This comparison right here, this is the core of the whole story. On one side, you've got Celestine, the powerful root woman, a living legend in her Florida community. And on the other side, you have her oldest daughter, Glory, who's been hiding out for 7 years, working in a Chicago laundry, completely convinced she is plain, utterly ordinary.
You know, this line just perfectly captures Glory's pain. See, she knows all the lore, she knows the herbs, she knows the rules of her mother's conjure work by heart, but she can't feel any of it. She truly believes the gift just skipped right over her, like a stone on a lake, and landed smack on her younger sister, Pearl. And it left Glory feeling like this weak link in a really powerful chain.
So what on earth could possibly pull Glory from her lonely life in Chicago and drag her back into all the family drama she tried so hard to escape? Well, it's a letter. You see, in Glory's world, good news travels fast. It comes by telegram, by phone call. But bad news takes its sweet time. It arrives proper, folded up in an envelope, giving you just a second to brace yourself for what's inside. And the letter from her sister, Pearl, doesn't waste any time. Mama is sick, and it's a kind of sickness the doctors can't figure out. What's even more terrifying is that Pearl, the sister who has the gift, she can see what's happening. She knows what's coming, and she's not strong enough to stop it. The only thing left to do is to call her sister home. So this train ride south, it's so much more than just a trip. It's a journey back in time. It's forcing Glory to face the life she ran from 7 years ago, right after her husband died, a death that she's always felt she should have been able to stop, if only she'd had the gift. So Glory gets back to Eatonville, and she learns pretty fast that her mother's illness is way stranger, and frankly, a lot scarier than she ever could have guessed. Pearl gives her the chilling diagnosis. Their mother isn't just sick, she's worked sick. This isn't some disease of the body. It's a magical attack, a hex, a curse. Pearl has seen it with her second sight. She describes it as this dark, hungry shadow that's just clinging to their mother. And in this raw, incredibly emotional confrontation, Glory finally breaks down and tells her mom the real reason she left. It wasn't just about her husband. It was the crushing weight of feeling so inadequate, of being the ordinary one in a family of extraordinary women. But here's the twist. Celestine just dismisses the whole idea of a curse. Instead, she hints at something way older, something much more personal. She says she's not being attacked by some enemy. No, she's being called to pay a debt. She's afraid of something she did a long, long time ago. And this is where the whole mystery just starts to completely unravel. The sisters dig in, and they find out their mother's entire legacy, her entire power, is built on a secret that's 30 years old. Get ready for this bombshell. Celestine's legendary power, it was never hers to begin with. She wasn't born with it. As a young woman, desperate for some kind of power in a world that gave her none, she made a deal with the powerful root worker to get the gift. And that deal, well, it came with a price. So the sisters track down the daughter of the woman who made the deal, a woman named Violet. And she tells them this devastating truth. Violet isn't their enemy. She's actually dying of cancer. And her death is what's triggering a clause in the magical contract. Celestine's power is simply being called back to its source. It's nothing personal. Okay, so let's break down the rules of this blood contract. Celestine had to agree to 7 years of service, helping anyone who needed it. She had to promise to never work evil magic, and she had to train the next generation. But that final rule, the one that's unbreakable, is that when the power is called, it must return to its source. So what do you do when there's no enemy to fight? Just an unbreakable contract. The sisters are out of options, so they go looking for an expert. Someone who understands both the law and, well, magic. And this is the question that changes absolutely everything.
Celestine herself is the one who asks it. Everyone just assumed the source meant, the earth or the original magic itself. But what if? What if it means something else? Or someone else?
And their expert, Dr. Freeman, he comes up with this mind-blowing new theory. He looks straight at Glory, the daughter who spent her entire life believing she had zero power, and he asks her, what if you are the source? What if the power was always meant for you?
And this really helps drive his theory home. See, Pearl's gift is natural-born, it's obvious, it's strong. But he argues that Glory's gift was never missing. It was like a seed, planted by the contract, just waiting dormant in the first daughter until the day it was needed. It was hidden, yeah, and totally unrecognized, but it was there the whole time.
So the plan they come up with is, wow, it's audacious and it is incredibly dangerous. They're going to try a ritual to actually intercept the power as it leaves Celestine and redirect it into Glory. The idea is that this would fulfill the contract because the power would be returning to its intended source. To even have a chance, Glory has to go through a 3-day fast to purify herself and open her body to the magic.
So this brings us to the climax, the big moment. Everything comes down to a choice that has to be made by the one daughter who always felt like she had no power at all.
And after a whole lifetime of running from her family's legacy, of feeling like a total outsider, Glory does it. She chooses to step up. She accepts this enormous responsibility, this incredible danger, and she's willing to become the one thing she never thought she could be, all to save her mother.
And in the end, Dr. Freeman tells her what her true power really is. It wasn't seeing visions or working with herbs. Her gift was the gift of choosing, the courage to make a tough choice when everything was on the line. And that leaves us with this powerful idea to think about. What if the greatest magic we have isn't some power we're born with, but the strength we find when we finally choose to face our fears?